Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And today we're going to talk about what is the effects when XRP's price skyrockets. So now that XRP's price is starting to move over $1, we can start to get the feel of how this value is going to affect the Flare network, Flare Finance, and the Trustline app, as well as the Probity Vault. Like, this value that XRP is going to have in the future is going to have a major impact. And that's what I want to talk about today. We see that the SEC case is heading in the right direction, and it's looking very good with the XRP community being able to intervene, with John Deaton leading the way for us, and Ripple putting the SEC back against the wall. So all points are leading to XRP's value increasing. And now this is separate of everything that Ripple is doing. This is just XRP being utilized. Now, on the Flare network, we're going to be able to mint FXRP. And with that FXRP, you're going to get daily yield in Spark paid to you. Every day, you're going to be able to earn a percentage of the dollar value of F assets minted. So with XRP's value being higher, that will give us more value to bring on to the Flare network, which therefore gives us more yield to earn in Spark every day. So this is a huge factor where XRP's price being, say, just hypothetically speaking, $10 to $20 is going to give us, many of us, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in value that will be able to brought onto the Flare network to be able to earn this Spark yield. This is in addition to the Spark that you're going to receive on the airdrop. So you're going to have this Spark already that you're going to have from receiving the airdrop, and you're going to earn more. And you're going to be able to bring all this value over there and then utilize it. So besides earning those F asset rewards, you're going to be able to use that FXRP value in the Flare Finance ecosystem. So in the Flare Farm to earn more yFIN, in the Flare X to provide liquidity and earn LP tokens, which then you could stake in the Flare Farm to earn yFIN. And in the recent video I just did, which was boosted distribution, is the APY cloud from Flare Finance. And that video, if you want to check out, I'll post in the link in the description, shows how it's going to support the value of the yFIN you earn. So all these different things coming together. We have our FXRP value going up. We have Spark with multiple use cases and yield coming with it. We have things like yFIN and yFLR that we're going to receive in airdrops. It gives us more ability to utilize our XRP value. And I think that's going to be huge going forward. So we are going to be part of an ecosystem that's going to have FXLM. It's going to have FLTC. It's going to have FDoge and others in the future like FBTC. But as XRP's value moves up, it's going to give us a higher dollar value of those long-time XRP holders to utilize this on the Flare network. So it's like the perfect scenario playing out. It's not just the capital appreciation and we wait here and then we cash out. It's like, okay, you want to take some profits? That's fine. And that's not financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. But you could also utilize that value then to set yourself up for generational wealth, where your wealth will just compound over time. And this is why it's very important. And I know other YouTubers like Crypto Eddie has stressed the importance of early participation, because that's when the maximum yield will be earned, just for delegating your Spark, but also for bringing your FXRP over. And there's going to be many that are going to be skeptical at first, and that's going to leave those who take advantage of the opportunity to trustlessly mint FXRP to earn those daily Spark rewards. Think of it like this. You're going to be getting daily airdrops of Spark for just bringing your FXRP over. Now, you're going to be able to utilize that FXRP while simultaneously earning that yield. And I want to go over here to, we didn't cover this, and I just want to cover it now. This is some of the documentation from the Trustline credit network. Now, the Trustline credit network enables liquidity providers to mint the Aurei stablecoin And to earn interest from borrowers, borrowers can borrow Aurei on the Flare network and the XRP ledger with other chains supported by Flare. Elements of the protocol's design were inspired by MakerDAO, Compound, and Uniswap. So Aurei is the stablecoin that is created by the protocol liquidity providers. It is an over-collateralized crypto stablecoin that may be backed by Spark or other F assets such as FXRP. So now this is where you could utilize your value of FXRP. So say that's at $10, $20, or even higher by the time Flare Network goes live. You're going to be able to take that value and put it in the Probity Vault, which we're going to discuss here, and you'll be able to then mint the Aurei stablecoin and then loan that stablecoin. That's how you earn the interest from that. And now you still get the capital appreciation as XRP goes up in value. And you're most likely going to be able to earn those daily Spark rewards. I think that's really important to note. They haven't given the specific details of all the things, but we have a lot more information than we did a few weeks ago. So it says right here, in some cases, over-collateralization of 2 times or greater is required. Now, for Flare, it's much higher. For FXRP, I believe it's 150%. To maintain the peg to the US dollar. Probity is the decentralized application where users can provide Aurei liquidity for borrowers. Trustline mobile app sources funds for payments from Probity for every credit-based transaction. Behind the scenes, Probity is calling the Trustline credit network smart contracts. Now, we're going to get into that and explain that further in the next page. Now, they also go into what the TCN token is going to be. This is the Trustline Credit Network token. Is a semi-stable governance token earned by liquidity providers. So this is after you mint your Aurei and then you loan it out, you'll earn interest in TCN token. TCN represents interest earned by lending Aurei. TCN owners vote and decide on proposals by staking a supermajority of TCN. TCN is the first stablecoin to have voting rights. Due to the voting rights, a premium may be placed on the price of TCN. However, it's guaranteed to stay at or slightly above due to the voting premium $1, while Aurei retains the peg. Aurei suppliers have the option to withdraw interest in either TCN or Aurei. So now, once you earn this TCN tokens as interest, you'll then be able to stake them too and earn on top of those, and you'll be part of the governance. So this is a really powerful system that's being built here. It's basically, this is going to mix in credit. So that Aurei that you're loaning out is going to be borrowed by the Trustline credit network users. And we don't go too much into detail with that, and I'm sure we'll get more information in the future. But now here's the different components of the smart contracts. We have the Vault contract, which allows you to manage underlying collateral supplied to mint Aurei or to secure an Aurei borrow. The 2 management methods are deposit and withdraw. The collateral may be Spark, F assets such as FXRP or other ERC20 tokens as determined by governance. So this is where you could utilize your FXRP. After collateral is stored in the vault, you can supply or borrow Aurei by interacting with the treasury and teller. So Aurei we know is an ERC20 compliant contract with mint and burn. Only the treasury contract can mint or burn Aurei. Treasury. The treasury contract owns the Aurei reserves. The reserve is equivalent to the amount of Aurei that is liquid for borrowing. The 2 treasury management methods are issue and redeem. By invoking issue, the caller locks collateral in the vault to mint Aurei. So now this is where you put your FXRP in and you mint Aurei. The treasury issues Aurei to you then and is lent out to the teller. This is where then you could lend it out to the teller. So the teller contract creates loans and tracks debt balances. The borrow interest rate is automatically determined based on the amount of Aurei liquidity. The 2 loan management methods are create loan and repay. By invoking create loan, the teller locks the collateral in the borrower's vault and sends Aurei from the treasury to the caller. This method updates the interest rate based on the change in Aurei liquidity. By invoking repay, the caller reduces their debt balance by providing Aurei back to the treasury. And now on to TCN is a ERC20 compliant contract with mint method only, callable by the treasury contract, in which case a supplier is withdrawing accumulated interest. The TCN token also has voting rights. So some of this we get now into the interest rates here, and you could compound your interest on top of this on a per second basis. So these are the ways that you're going to be able to compound different things. Now, this is all in addition to the spark that you're going to earn from your F assets, and in addition to the spark you're going to earn from delegating the votes, the FTSO votes, to the signal providers that come with your spark. So I hope everyone's seeing how the compounding aspect works here. We're going to have multiple streams of revenue coming in from different DeFi applications. And this is basically a crypto bank. You see how it has the vault, the treasury, and then there's the teller. And now this works on the Flare network and also the XRP ledger, which I remind you is a credit network. And we said that in the beginning. So interest payable, I'm going to post this in the description below so everyone can take a look at this. And it goes through all the different interest that's payable. I'm not going to read through all of this because it does get a little math-based in here on some of the things. And then we got the balance sheet, which goes through different equations here. So here is a good, the variables are broken down in the table below. The balance sheet is best viewed from the perspective of the suppliers. Since the protocol is trustless, the assets are owned directly by the supplier and the interest owed is redeemable at any time. The collateral underlying Aurei supply is also redeemable at any time. So we have the reserves is the reserve amount of unallocated Aurei. The loans is the loan balance due in Aurei. Then we have the interest, which is interest payable in TCN is the liability. And then we have the supply is the Aurei supply. And then we have a utilization ratio here as well, a collateral requirement, and then there's an example. So there's going to be an excess amount of Aurei that will always be there in reserves to cover the loans on top of the collateral that is put in. So this system is really designed in a way to keep the whole system solvent. And that's a key word here, is we hear a lot about liquidity, but solvency is really important. And it says it right here. The system is solvent, but unhealthy. It just describes one use case here of a situation. So solvency is another word we're going to have to learn and get used to with these new DeFi protocols. Now, this is not in competition to Flare Finance. This is a complementary DeFi application, more along the lines of credit and collateral issuing a decentralized stablecoin. Flare Finance's protocols are complementary to this. They don't overlap or compete with each other. So this is what's great about the composability of building early on the Flare network with low gas fees, because you're going to have all this value coming over in FXRP, FLTC, FBTC, FXLM, FDoge, where they can't really do anything with this on their native blockchains. But on Flare, you're going to be able to unlock all this value. And this is why this is a much better design than, say, Ethereum, for example, because you have to wrap Bitcoin, pay the high gas fees. This value is already on there. And that's where Flare Network is different than other blockchains. Like even than Polkadot and Cardano and some of the others, the F assets bring the value over and then give them yield and then utilization. And that's where these DeFi apps come in. And eventually these are going to be used by crypto banks, by exchanges, by other market participants, and they're going to create new business models. So it's not like, oh, will the traditional markets just use it? No, these are going to be new business models that are going to be created, and there's going to be new entities that utilize them and then offer them to customers. We are going to be able to interact directly with them. Now, the masses are not always going to be able to do that, but the third world countries will. And that's the key here, and I think that's where the next explosion from DeFi comes from. All these third world countries, everyone has phones. So all you need is that fiat on-ramp, and once you're on and you're within the DeFi ecosystem, and you have low gas fees, that's the key. We'll see an influx and a massive amount of money from the third world and second world countries, not just the US. It's like the US, you can't participate. You got to get in there, maneuver over to DeFi, and then you can use it. But the masses are not going to get that yet. They'll come in. It'll just be later. But in the meantime, this is our opportunity and the third world's opportunity to get in. Right now, Ethereum is not even feasible because you can't just go on there and put $100 in or $1,000 because the gas fees are ridiculous and they will just destroy any profits that you have. So now with a network that has the same Ethereum smart contracts that everyone's used to and the low gas fees where that is not an issue, it will open up a whole new world to these third world countries and to us who are already in the F assets and see the value there. So this is going to be huge, and this is why the Flare network has that potential to be a pillar of the next generation financial infrastructure. It's not necessarily that's going to be adopted by banks or by institutions. I think there is institutional use cases, and they will come maybe in supply chain or other aspects. But it's also going to be just the everyday users. So every entity of the financial system has a place on the Flare network. If they're going to be an institution building something, they could do it in a regulated, compliant way, or it could be a crypto bank, or different exchanges, or signal providers are going to create these business models for their users, but also for us to interact directly. And that's where the advantage is for us who already have FXRP's value, understand how to work self-hosted wallets, get familiar with the testnet with Trustline, which is coming in a few weeks, participate in the Flare Finance beta, which is coming, which is already intact right now that you could participate in, and learn how to use these before they go live. So you could take advantage and then compound your wealth. You know, everyone has a different risk profile, and it's up to you to depend how much you want to risk. But if you have $1 million in value, it's easier to risk 100,000 than if you just had less and you just wanted to risk some. So having that value, and that's why XRP's value going up is going to be huge going into Flare, and it's going to spark an insane amount of utility and utilization of these protocols. So these are just the first that are going to be available on the Flare network. So this is really exciting to me that we're getting more documentation out of this. So here it shows the collateral ratio for XRP would be 150, and for Spark it would be 450, because there's also going to be the use case for using your Spark to put in the F asset system and to earn the underlying F assets. So there'll be many use cases right out the gate for Spark. So this isn't going to be one of those networks that are going to take 2-3 years to develop. This thing's ready to go right out the gate. And it's going to have value on it, it's going to have utility on it, and it's already going to be decentralized. So that's why we're so excited about this. And the rest of the market is going to not pick up on it right away, but they will, because it's inevitable. There's yield, and there's use case, and there's utilization of this value that's already going to be there. And it's decentralized using the same Ethereum smart contracts. So I think this is really powerful, and we're going to see this in the future. So stay tuned and keep an eye on Trustline, keep an eye on Flare Finance. We're going to be covering it. And when it comes to looking into how you could maximize your yield in the Mickey B. Fresh Patreon, I have a team called the DeFi Standard, and we're creating a spreadsheet that can allow you to maximize your yield. Now, it's not financial advice, but it will give you an idea of how you can maximize your yield based on your condition. And we do different Zoom calls every week based on different tiers. So I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.